Yes, it is. And this is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run.
It is fun.
And to take the hassle out of your hustle. It's just good to laugh sometimes. Laughter is a very medicine. Good morning, everyone. I'm joined today by my co-host, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover-Ups, and today our host is Miss Caren Fern, Coach Caren, all the way from Toronto, Canada, with her Island Girl Hustle. She's here as our money mindset coach to make sure we get our act together over there with our finances, both our personal finances and our business finances. And guys, I want you to know she has been gracing us with the Island Girl Chronicles. Some fabulous stories about how to handle money. I like stories because I don't always get the facts and the figures, but I can get the essence of the lesson when someone tells me a story. So today I want to welcome Coach Caren Fern. You can find her on the web. If you type in Island Girl Hustle, she'll come up everywhere. And you're going to just love what she has to share with us. So if you don't have a pencil and pen, hurry up, run and get it, because you're going to want to write some stuff down today. How you doing, Caren?
I am great. The sun is shining. It's fabulous. We're getting fabulous weather. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, we're getting fabulous weather whole week. We're supposed to rain tomorrow, but good weather.
Oh, good.
The sun is shining. It's wonderful outside. And as everybody, I'm Coach Caren Fern, your money mindset gal at Island Girl Hustle, and that's you can find me everywhere. In this whole month of May, we've been talking about the Hustle Chronicles, and it's really diving into case studies and people's stories and showing you how the mind works, how money works, and each and every one of those stories that I've covered, it's really to let you see that people are, no matter what kind of situation you're in, it's similar. Really, we're an extension of each other. And also something crossed my mind when I was reading this book, and I keep talking about it in my head and start writing it down, that each and every one of us struggle in some shape or form with money, regardless of if we have it or we don't. Mm-hmm. And the things that you need to do is so inside of you, and us coaches are there to help pull them out. And, you know, or let's say you're not versed in a specific area. It's not because you wouldn't know what to do, but somebody who has done it before can help you do it. And it really doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. Because this morning I was reading, and before I get into this, I want to talk about this. This morning I was reading 2 Kings, Kings 2 and verse 11, 21, where I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, because some words in the Bible I just can't pronounce, and I probably butcher it up. But it's Joash, I call it, because Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign as king. And really and truly, we have started our journeys in whatever field you're in. If it's your passion and you're loving it and know that's where you're supposed to be, you've been doing it before you went to university, before you went to college. You've been doing some facet of it, but you didn't know that's what you were doing. For the designers, they've been designing dolls' dresses. For the hairdressers, they've been fixing the doll's hair. You know, for the people who is going to organize, they've been organizing drawers or some little space they have. They've been doing things before they went to school for it. So it's in you. You mightn't have known what to do about it, but it's in you to do, to be whatever you're supposed to be. So don't be amazed, but also understand you've been on this journey to get here. Nobody gets anywhere overnight. Most skills take 8 to 10 years, sometimes even 20, to get you to be the master mistress of it. So hold the faith. If you're at your place and you're only 2 years in and you're wondering when I'm going to get there, if you're supposed to be there, you are. And you don't want to miss out on those lessons along the way, those faith building things that you have to go through. So hold the faith, because you're going to be who you're supposed to be in the long run. You just have to hold on. Okay. In the Chronicles, we're talking about Pam's story. And I want to tell you, we went through this whole month. We talked a little bit about me. We talked about Anna. We talked about Jenny. And last week, we talked about Clary's story. And a chunk of these stories is from my school days. And I know that anytime I'm supposed to talk, God always gives me the verse in the Bible that will allow me to do this. So when I saw that, you know, he started writing at 7 years old, because I used to wonder my age, and I know it's a miracle. I know God is involved, that I did all this stuff so young. It's his hands that was guiding me. And I counted over 11 people while I was in school that I helped.
Wow. And
I never really sat and counted it. Like, you know, but now that I'm doing the Chronicles, of course, it's bringing up all the memories, and I'm writing things down and stuff like that. And so Pam's story is similar to Clary's story, just in a different format. Same idea, but I was wondering and questioning, should I tell this story? Like, yes, because it's just one of those ones that, because of, now it was a buzz around, if you need help, here is where you go. It was easier, if you will, on this case study, but still, the problem's still there. So today we're going to talk about the problem of no money, solutions, and free stuff.
Okay.
Those are the things we're going to touch on, right? So Pamela had a brother and her mom. And it's similar in the sense is because the mom lost her spouse, and versus Clary's story, where they came from money, they were on the opposite end. There was no money there. So, yes. You know, and I wanted to showcase both spectrum, right? So that's why we're talking about the no money. And Pamela's mom, they lost their dad, and there was no money. And because he looked after everything, she didn't know what's going on in the finance department. So again, instead of this mom went away. So let me not bring that in later. But Pamela's mom, we recognized that she was, the landlord came and knocked on the door and said, "You're behind 3 months." And she thought her husband was paying on time and everything was great. That wasn't the fact. And she was a stay-at-home mom. And she did used to sell something. Here they'll call it freezy, home we call it fruity. You say something, Terry?
I was saying hi to Terrell and Penny.
Okay. Hello. Yes, so she was doing something before that put a few change in her pocket. But when this all happened, she just curled up in a ball and didn't know what to do. So her daughter had known that I helped another student, and she asked me if I can come and speak to her mom. And of course, I always get this reaction. I get there, and being a young preteen, nobody really cared. Didn't really want to talk to me as an adult. But it took 2 weeks in her case for the mom to talk to me. And I'm just going to go down the steps that we do, because by then I have helped a few people. So it was easier for me to get into the mindset and figure out where they do it. And one of the first things I did with everybody I talked to was to find out, if you need help. Doesn't matter where you're getting it from, because I had learned that I can't say, if you need me to help you. I had to say, do you need help? Do you want somebody to help you? Or do you want to keep feeling like this? And I don't want to keep feeling like this, because that used to spark them up, because they know they don't want to keep feeling like that, but they don't want to talk touch up. And so I said to her, okay, what are you willing to do? And she said, anything. And that was that. Once she said anything, we worked to town. And so I took off some time from my dance class, and I went in, and it took us 2 hours, A, to find the bills around the home, and B, for us to check and see where she stands financially. Truly. Wow. So the problem
is, wait a minute. So here you are, you're not even 13 yet, and you are organizing this woman's finances. That's what I just heard. You said we need to find the bills. Okay. I'm taking a note right here.
Okay.
Listen to the kids. Go ahead.
She was not happy. She was not happy, but I realized it now that she wasn't happy. She was just embarrassed. She was just embarrassed that she had to show me the numbers. And of course, she didn't know half of what she needed to show me. So it was literally a hide and seek situation. We were seeking where things are being hidden. Mm-hmm. And so we had to search and find it. We just found a few bills. We didn't find nothing much. So literally, she didn't know much. So her homework was to go down to the electricity corporation. That's how we pay our light bills and overhead, and just inquire about their names, where they live, how much money is owing, and how it's paid. So she had to go and find out from all these companies what has been done and get back to me. So by the time I get to school on Friday, we went there to Wednesday, she needed to have this information for me. And when you're willing to do whatever you're willing to do.
Okay. So let me see if I understand this. So she didn't even know where the bills were because she hadn't been in charge before?
Never been in charge.
They weren't her responsibility. So she didn't know how to work, where they came from. First of all, you probably had to make a list and tell her where to go because this is a bill and that is a bill. Okay. Interesting.
Didn't do that.
I thought I was bad, but okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Didn't know what was paid and when was paid.
It sounds like when I first got out of college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People
but these are people who, she didn't. She went up to high school. She told me she finished high school. That was about it, and got married right away and got the kids right away. So, and the husband was supposed to take care of her, right? Rather there, and it looked well. Everything seems great, but obviously he fell into some problems and didn't tell her because didn't want to. Probably felt embarrassed and decided to walk instead of have the confrontation.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
So we got that straightened out, and I asked her to write everything down. She bring it back, and we looked at it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it until the Monday because my sister was sick, and I wasn't able to. So I got there the Monday, and it was a mess because the landlord returned, and he was not happy with her because, of course, she didn't know what to do with herself. And I got there the morning and I said to him, I'll talk to you at lunchtime. Nobody wants to wait, but school was my thing. I never missed school. So I was in school. And, she was waiting for me at a lunch hour. She was waiting at my school gate. I walked over with her. She said she can't get back to the apartment because he's waiting. And we got over there and I said to him, he said if you're her sister or somebody's for her, all I want is my money. And I said, how much is she owing? And he said, I don't know. I said, well, look in the books and let us know. He said, it's 3 months. And I said, okay. And he told me what the cost was. And I asked him, would he wait for the rent? He began to grumble. But eventually I said to him, if she leaves, nobody's renting the place right away. They'll be locked up for the next month or two. You still wouldn't get any rent. But if she was to pay you, promise a date, keep the date.
Okay, stop it. You mean at 12 years old you are negotiating these terms?
I've been negotiating forever.
My girl got steps. Check this out. You know you're not gonna make no money for 3 months because it's not gonna be available. How do you know these things at 12?
It's hard to get a place to rent. I was very curious and nosy.
How do you know this at 12?
I was nosy. I couldn't be sure that you couldn't get it rented.
And now I understand why you started with the preface that it's just in you. Whatever you do is innate.
It's in you.
Let's see.
It's innate in you.
This girl's an arbitrator, a mediator, a negotiator, an attorney. Shut up. Okay, go ahead.
I believe that to my bones. I just know things, and some things I just don't know how I know it. It's just in me. I can't explain it. I just don't know how to explain it. And so he sat on the stairs, and it was about 3 or 4 apartments, and he sat there, and I think he was just shocked that we were having this conversation because I'm in my blue pleated school skirt and white shirt and running shoes. And I think he was more confused about the conversation and looking at me. I just threw him off. And he said, okay, tell me how you make this work. And I said to him, if I come with a plan this afternoon, could we sit and talk about it? I think he was just curious to see what we would come up with. So my goal was for her was finding out what she can do, how good she's at doing it. And she said, Caren, the only thing I know to do is clean my house and look after my kids. I said, okay, so that's 2 things you know to do. She goes, nobody's going to buy that. I said, those are 2 things you can do. Tell me what else you can do. She said, I know to cook. Good. I said, good. What else you know to do? I know to make this. I know to make this. I know to make this. I said, okay, so there's 3 things you know to do. You know to sell. You know to make popsicle. That's what you guys would call it here. She know to make another item we had. And she had a cousin that had a mango tree. 3 things she can do. Because my mind is, you can sell to survive. Once we knew that, we went back to him and we said we needed more time. We needed 2 weeks to price things out. And this was the 3rd thing that I did. I went to my principal. By then, she was acquainted with all the stuff I did. And I said to her, I need an adult to literally go talk to him. Because although he said yes, my friend mom was worried that when we weren't there, things can happen. So we got him to sign a promissory note with all the details. She would pay X amount every month until she cleared the 3 months. Also, so she'll pay, let's say she was paying $500 a month plus $50 from the one that owed before. So that's just a arbitrary number because rent was pretty cheap then. Rent wasn't that expensive, you know.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that expensive. She wasn't even paying $500. She was paying like $275, if I don't lie, a month. And that was easy to be made. Now, me telling her that just panic her. She's like, it's not easy to make, Caren. My husband couldn't be making that because he couldn't pay for us. I'm like, it's easy to make when you know what to do. Then it's easy to be made, right? So we set up her budget. That's the first thing we do. The second thing we do on the budget, so I want to talk about the budget. We set up a budget. And on the budget, we had savings. I want you to hear me very clearly. The first thing at the top of her budget was savings because I didn't want her to be in this predicament again. The next thing on her budget was the fixed bills. That's rent, light bill. We don't pay for water home, and we don't have anything else. You just pay your rent and your light bill. That's all you pay. And food. The kids' school, I had an aunt used to sew. So I remember what she did. When you wear your pleated skirts and the sun starts fading in, the next semester you can turn them inside out and you get a brighter blue on the outside. So there's no uniform buying the next time around. She used to pick out the pleats and turn them over. So that would save her money. And the things that she was going to sell, she had to get up early in the morning so she can get the kids in the morning. She can get them at lunchtime, and she can get them again in the afternoon. She got to get them 3 times a day to make enough money to pay the things we had on the budget. Once we had that set up, we didn't show him that. That's none of his business. We showed him what he needed to know. How the rent would be paid, when it's going to be paid, and when the debt is going to be cleared off. The thing I needed our principal to help with was that he wouldn't charge her any interest. He wouldn't kick her out of the apartment. They needed to stay there because they were close to our school. That's what they needed. And I needed an adult to help me with that. Because my grandmother wasn't about to help me with that. She was like, you get yourself into too many things in doing it. But the principal agreed because, you know, the kids were in our school. So that's what we did. We had the idea, I had the idea, she complied, here's the problem, here's the solution, and she's using what's in her hand. Now, what is faith? She's trusting that this is going to work. You see, if she was to doubt that it wouldn't work, if she was to decide this can't work to the core, then it wouldn't have worked. I really want you to hear this. Whoever's listening to this or on the replay, things only work when you believe they're going to work.
Okay, I like that. Things only work when you believe they will work. Okay, so Janice was asking, what are we talking about? This is how the mind and money works, and this is a chronicle of someone that is getting help, and we identified the problem that the lady had, and now we're working through her solutions. Just a recap, she was in a situation, and she needed help and didn't know where the help was coming from. 3 months behind in her rent. And now Caren, at age 12, is negotiating with the landlord on how to keep this lady in her house, but also teaching the lady what she need, or coaching her in what she needed to do in order to make up the rent and to address the problem, helping her with solutions for the problem. Did I catch us up?
Yes, and she showed a team building with the principal.
Yes, got the principal involved, because at 12 years old, you know, the guy could have switched terms and decided to change up, and so with the principal being involved, those terms were now solidified, and he can't take advantage. Okay, all right, let us continue.
Exactly. All right. So that's where we are at. We had it going. It was going sweet. It was going great for about 3 months. We were on top of things. Everything was going great. Everything was looking up. We're doing great. We're chipping along. You know, she got a couple months rent in the bank. She's got a few. She started paying down the 3 months. Everything was going great. And of course, and the reason I make sure I don't leave these parts out is because I want you to understand things don't go smoothly consistently. This is a fact of life. Of course, she ended up talking to a friend about this, who advised her that there's no way this child could tell her what to do to get her to where she needs to be. And my friend's brother also hated the fact that I was helping his mom because the way it looked. You know, most of us are spending our time. I think the first time I encounter, the second time I encounter how people perceive you. You know, if they're getting help, then something is wrong. Versus something is wrong and you're getting help. You see what I mean? People want help, but just a little bit of influence from outside would make them stop taking help. And, you know, I got there on month 4, and I talking to the lady because every month I would go over the budget and make sure everything is right, tick it off. We had a calendar for a year set up so that we can see what was happening. We needed to keep track of it. We needed to know what she sell every month, how much material she used, how much time she spent on it, and how we can increase that flow. Because I have always been of a mind, if it takes me 2 hours to do something, I want to be able to do it in an hour and a half after a couple of weeks, because my goal is always to bring it down. So if I started 2 hours, I really want that same product or thing that I'm doing to take me an hour. If I could do it for less, I will. But that's always been my mentality. That's been my mentality academic-wise. If I'm reading a book and it takes me 2 weeks, I want to see if I can read it in a week, you know, in a day. I always would push me. And I have taken that same idea and push it over when I start helping people. And I went the Thursday and I was knocking on her door and she never opened the door. And then she looked out because I wouldn't stop rapping, and she ended up looking out and said to me, I don't need your help anymore. You know, we're fine. You know, we don't need you. You come and you did what you was going to do for us, and that's okay. Bye. It just closed the door on me. And I'm not going to lie, being a child, I did cry. I walk over the yard and I was just crying. I was just sad and just crying, you know. And I didn't even go back to school. I didn't go back in my school. I went out, and her daughter the next day, the Friday, she said to me, I heard what happened. And she said, my mom friend came over and that was it. That's why. And she goes, but Caren, we still need you. We still need you because it's just a couple of days and there's a difference in my mom behavior. There's just a difference. She didn't make as much as you told her to make. So she didn't make as much sale, but she's inside in the house crying. And I think it took a good 2 weeks before I was able to go back and talk to her. I did go talk to my principal, And she said, Karen, you know, you're doing a good thing, but sometimes people need space. Maybe it's too much too quick for her. And we had a meeting and we resumed. It did take that family a full year to pay off all the overhead bills, get on her feet. And it did teach me a lot, that although I like to move very quickly, not everybody's able to move at my speed. And of course, I didn't even recognize how fast I like to move. And still to this day, lots of time I have to pull my rein back, because I'm of the mind of, this is what you got to do. You just do it.
And because it's innate to you, it doesn't really cost you effort.
There you go. But I didn't realize that was, who I am at the time. Over years, I've recognized myself and would pull back if I feel like I'm pushing too much. But at the time, of course, I didn't understand that when you suffer a loss, you have to go through that mourning stage, because divorce is debt. When somebody leaves you, is a debt. And even though you really want to bounce back and do everything great, as an adult, it just doesn't work that way. You got to really go find your inner kid to be able to bounce back when you need to. And that's what I do for myself. I always look at, if I'm having a hard time, I look at that Karen that really don't think of anything, just move forward. Just understand that in spite of what's going on, because what I learned over the years, while that doesn't mean you mustn't grieve, that doesn't mean you shouldn't feel sad. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't take time, but it's almost like giving yourself permission to take some time. So I said to her, cry all Saturday. I probably sung rough. But Monday to Friday, you just can't cry. Or you can cry after 5, but you can't cry during the day, because nobody's coming and buying from you if you're crying. And although that sounds harsh, that's where you're making your bread and butter. Because we don't really know the stores we go into, whether it's a mom and pop or somebody who's serving you. You could be being served by somebody who just lost their mom or dad, or somebody's in the hospital. But because they can't afford to take the day off, they're serving you. But you don't know what's going on with them.
You really don't.
But for some reason, when we have our own business, we give ourselves permission that we can just crawl up in a ball and say, well, I work for myself. And then when you put your head up 4 months later, you're like, well, I really don't work for myself because I don't have crap. And I can't pay for this. So that's why it's almost like you have to say to yourself, not almost like, you have to say to yourself, I'm going to grieve from 5 to 9 in the evening. I know it sounds harsh, but it's one of those things where you're making a deliberate, conscious effort to be in a state of sadness at a specific time.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason you need to do that, because you have to be functioning the other times. And you have to, if you have your own business, because it's easy to slide down that muddy slope, and it's harder to climb your way back, because this place is muddy and all the water is splashing. There's nowhere to grip. So getting back up is tough. If you have slipped just a tiny bit, you still have a place to hold on to get back up. I don't know if this is making sense, but I hope it is, because that's really what I'm saying. When the mind say to you, you can't, you literally have to tell you, whoever you are, call your name. You are such a liar. I can't. Mm-hmm. And if you put on music, if you think about a happy time and you get yourself in the state that you need to be in, you're not going to not feel sad, but you wouldn't feel unsigned. You can take yourself out like this. And it's just a practice skill. If I make the dump right now, I could put on the music I like and I will dance my way out of that song. Now, I'm still sad. But at that moment, that 5 minutes, I'm going to dance to the music and I will give myself permission for the next 15 minutes to write that email, write that content, write whatever. Maybe I need more music to get another 15 minutes in, but it's just 5 minutes versus sitting there and thinking about it. Oh my God, I can't write this content, I can't write this email, I can't send this invoice, I can't call this maybe client. and the whole day is finished. You got nothing accomplished, and you're more sad the next day because you're sad about the thing and you're sad about the thing you didn't do.
Wow.
Two set of sadness.
Now, just based on what you said, the one from that section.
Is muted.
Yeah. Just based on what you just talked about, I learned, I always write down stuff that I learned, but the key that stuck out to me is watch the outside influences out of this story, because she's moving on a path and she's getting success and she's moving and things are changing for her. And the perception of other people entered in and caused her to stop. They perceived her like, well, how are you listening to a 12-year-old tell you what to do, although you're getting help? And she stopped because of outside voices.
Yep. Well, I got schedule your grief and encourage yourself.
Yes. Okay, you're going to be sad. Let's set a time limit to the sad, set a time limit to the grief. Let's just do this. Just do it. Here's the time frame. Now let's go.
It's over.
And it seems harsh, but I really don't think it's harsh. I think it's a very good principle. I'm not going to call it a strategy. Set a time. There's a time the Bible talks about. There's a time for everything, for every season. Okay, you're crying right now. Got 5 minutes. You got 2 days, whatever it is. Okay, let's go.
Well, you know, when you're an employee, they only give you so many days for
bereavement.
Thank you, for bereavement leave.
Agreed. Only so much days. There's nothing you can do. You really can't do. And I also
come back to work or give up.
You gotta come back to work. Yeah, you gotta come back to work. You gotta come back to work. When my grandmother died, I came to Canada the same year. I came to June and she died in October. And you know, it was messed up because nobody gave me the messages. And by the time I did get back to the call, she was dead already. And everybody said to me, you know, are you gonna take you're gonna fly out, what are you gonna do? And I sit and I consider all the different things. She's really been instrumental to me, you know. As much as she's done some nasty things to me, she has also, in a sense, she's part of who I am today. And she let me tap into skills that I probably would have never tapped into. Haven't had her as without she understanding, being used by God to propel those things out of me early. That's what she's done. And I had thanked her a couple years ago. I started thanking her and being grateful that she has been who she needed to be so that I could be who I am today. So I had to forgive her. I had to write her. I had to be in a place where we could have the discussion so that I don't see her in a hateful position, in this distressed state, because then it makes me distressed. And once I was able to see the gifts that she's given me, that God works through her to give me, not in the manner I would have liked to receive it, but in the way that I needed to, so I could be self-sufficient, so I could look after Caren from the head to the toe, without nobody coming in and giving me anything. I say thank you. And so when I think about all those things, I didn't even think about it in that broad aspect, but when I was debating if I needed to travel back home and what I needed to do and all these other things and things she asked me to do, when she died, and I wouldn't be there to do it. I couldn't sing the hymn she wanted me to sing for her, and I couldn't braid her hair the way she wanted it, or dress her in the outfit I was going to make for her. I couldn't do those things. And even if I traveled back, it would just be for the burial, but I couldn't do the things she asked me to do. I said to myself, I cried, and I said, I knew when she died, but I didn't know that was what I was knowing. I was standing at a bus stop, and the Lord prayers in song of form came to me, and I started singing it, And when I got in, then I heard she died. And that was the very hymn she asked me to sing. And so she was asking as I stood there waiting on the bus. But I didn't understand till after the fact. And so having said all of that, I called, my mom was there, my sisters were there, and I said to them, this is what she wanted, and if you could do it, it's great. And if you can't, it's fine, because I've talked to her already about it. And there's no way I'm coming, because it makes no sense. I'll send money, but I'm not coming, because I've seen her before I come. And that's what I needed to see. If I went back, it wouldn't change anything. But the money will help you guys do this, this, and that, versus me spending that kind of money traveling and bringing it. Because I just come, I didn't have as much.
A lot of people do not know.
And so
a lot of people do not know how to stop and consider. Mm-hmm. This is my word today that I got while I was sitting. Stop and consider all of the decisions in front of you. Is it going, and that's what you did. You stopped to consider. Okay, is me going to help the situation? Probably not. Sending a check or sending some money, yes. But if I had to drop everything and go there, it's not going to help the situation. So you stopped to consider that, and you weren't all up in your feelings, as people call it.
I had to park it so that I can think clearly what's the next move, and how do I make this make sense? Because this is a lot of things that was happening. I got to stray a little bit from the story with Pamela, but what was happening at the time was not only did she need to be buried, and I told you guys how she lived, so of course she had no money to bury herself. So all those things had to be taken care of. That's one. And I used to send money to her, and I left her to care for my son and my two younger sisters. So therefore, I had to start positioning on what's the next step for them, because as much as I'm grieving for the dead, there's still people alive. And what happened to the two young people that's alive, and what is their next move? Because I felt responsible for them, because I've looked after them. So all those things had to be considered, and I had to have decent money to send so that everybody is being taken care of, because now they had to travel from where they are to go somewhere else, to stay somewhere else. There's a lot of things, that to be considered. So doesn't matter how we're grieving, we have to really pay attention to that sort of stuff. I think not right away, but as I tell you guys, over time, that's why I give myself these timelines and these time to do certain things, because I realize as human beings, we just get sucked into the feeling, and we don't know how to climb our way back up. It's just hard. And it's no disrespect to anybody. It's just that it's hard all around. So as for Pamela, once we probably was about 10 months in, and the lady looked at me, she said, whatever you need from me for life, my school life, whatever she made to sell, and I had a sweet tooth, I was on her books for free. One of the things I left her with, and what she really, again, that was innate in her, but she didn't even know. She was a better money manager than the hubby that she was dependent on, because once she learned all the rules, she kept her books beautifully. I tell you, by the time I was out of that school, her books were up to par, and just simply listing her ingredients, her labor costs. The 4 things I like you to list: your ingredients, your labor costs, your profit, and your cash flow. Because I didn't want it to get complicated. Anything else, you need to go to school, go to accounting, go to bookkeeping, and learn the other terms. But those is the basic of keeping your books in whatever you do, because it allows you, why you need profit and expenses and that stuff, it allows you to pay yourself, and so you're not diving into the money. So if you made $500, it's not yours. It goes into labor costs, it goes into material costs, and your salary, and it goes into the profit. The profit of your business allow you to advertise and grow. The reason you pay labor costs, even if you are doing it, is so that eventually you can hire somebody and pay them. If you never account for labor costs, you can't expand, you can't grow. That's the reason for that. And you set your mind up for success by getting those things in place initially. So eventually, I would hope you'd want to grow, and that's how you grow.
Now, I see another booklet, learn the money management rules. I was like, oh, because see, nobody talks about that. When they do the accounting, they tell you this whole the big picture, and you're like doing amigo, meaning my eyes, my eyes glossing over. It's the big,
it goes in like this.
and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't. But if people would break it down into the little small stuff like money management rules. Rule 1, you have to set up a tracking. Do you understand? Just give us
just simple things. Just simple things. I wish they would. When I looked at it, I mean, I like it because I love numbers, right? But when I explain to people and see how they glaze over, I want them to have something so simple that they can just enter it in and know that they're keeping track. One of the hardest things to be a small business owner, entrepreneur, any one of those famous names you want to give yourself, is understanding how to track your money, keep your money, but most importantly, pay yourself. Most people are working for years without paying themselves because some guru told them you can't get paid till the next 5 years. You can't get paid till your business for how many years. And so the people are busy working hard at the job and they're frustrated with their small business because they can't pay themselves, because they're afraid to pay themselves. That's because they haven't priced right, so they can't pay themselves. You literally, my kids used to laugh at me, my sisters, anybody I know would tell you I put on a timer. And I didn't have a timer or watch. I'm like, how long it took me to mix, cut, bake, fry. I could tell you so that I know how much to sell it for or how many I have to make to know my pay. Because my pay allows me to pay my bills. Her pay allows her to pay rent, pay the light bill, take care of her kids, pay for food. If she did not understand that, if she did not understand how to get that together, then she can't save, she can't pay tithes, she can't do any of that stuff because she would never have enough. And that's one of the hardest things, really, to say to somebody who haven't experienced it, because you're nervous, you're jumpy. If you're not making enough, it just really means you need to add another item to your product line, or it means your pricing is not right, or it might means that you need to add somebody else to your mailing. And when you're starting out, you think you can do everything, you know everything, you don't need to hire anybody. But those people that you would hire will really help you to make more money. It's better to have a second person work with you and pay them even when you think you're going to make less money. Actually make more. Initially, you make less. But if somebody was doing something for you that you can do yourself and you're making $20 a head on 2 people, that's $40 that you wouldn't have earned because they are doing the work. They're lessening your load. They're lessening the time you're putting in. And that's really something that all small business owner and entrepreneurs should always consider when they're going to start a business. How do I start this business so that I can grow into having either contractors or employees? And how do I do that? And if you don't have labor costs in your business plan, you are doing yourself a disservice, even if you don't have employees. That's when you got to pay yourself twice, right? You got to pay yourself for the labor and you got to pay yourself salary. And I like that one.
Do you offer a consultation on just that piece of teaching someone how to pay themselves?
Well, I have a proposal and it's not come through yet. And let's have a little bit about that for 5 minutes. I have a proposal in and we've been back and forth because somebody want to open a restaurant. And they need somebody to come in and really understand their finances. And they had a business before. They know how to do stuff. But this little portion they need to understand. Hire good staff, pay good staff, how they're going to be paid while they're in their job, and all these other shenanigans that happens around. And it takes time. So, yes, to answer your question, Francie, I didn't even realize that it's something I could teach, but because somebody asked me for it, and that's usually what happens when I'm yapping my mouth, somebody asked me specifically for it. And so when this girl was asking around, I just taking proposal, I'm like, you know what? Why not? Like, I'm going to put it in. I never did restaurant, but I have the idea about it, and I'd help somebody literally figure out how to pay themselves, how to make the business work, and that sort of stuff. And after working with it for a couple of months, I'm like, you never think about a part of you that can do specific things until somebody reach out and say, I need that. Not all of that, just this.
Yeah. And then because there's a lot of business owners who don't have that piece, who don't know, okay, how am I going to get paid from doing this? Because they haven't done what you said about inventory or tracking their labor or any of that. But they know that they want to get paid, but they just can't figure, and they're all in a maze doing this. Like, I'm blind, I can't see it.
Yeah, I've been busy too. My son Barber, you know, I was talking to him because I went there and I sat down and I'm like, this is this big tremendous space which is wasted. And you know, my brains are working. I said, man, who's paying you? He's like, I'm paying myself. And how long? I'm like, yeah, because you. I gotta go back and talk to him because I just see the money that's just going through, but he's not aware that the money's not going through because he doesn't understand how to. So yes, we finally talked. He said, I don't understand what to do. And he said, and yes, I have a degree in business.
And see, because they don't teach you that at school. You talk about, and I wrote this down, how the mind and money works. Because if you don't understand how the mind and money works, you're not going to figure, you know, and then emotions come into that too, because you're thinking, oh, I don't have any right to ask, you know, I don't have any right. Just like you said, people tell you you're not going to make any money, so you don't expect to make any money, and therefore you don't make any money. But then you got this circle going around because you need to make some money, but I can't make any money because they said I'm not supposed to make any money in my first year, blah, 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 blah. And you're in this whirlwind.
Yeah, and then you go for years not making money. You get so used to it, borrowing out from your credit card or your line of credit, but you're not really making any money. I mean, if you open a barbershop, a salon, right, just think about that. And you know that you decided that you need to make 60 grand a year from your salon, and it was a little tiny salon, and you're not making, then you need to rent a chair so that somebody else can bring you some business for you. You just can't have all three chairs because you can't work at all three at the same time. Don't hire anybody. You get two people to rent a chair, and you just in the one chair. So your rent is covered, your overhead is covered right away. And your job, matter of fact, you might like to have a chair, but I encourage you just have a chair once or twice a day, a week. Let somebody else rent all three spaces and get your butt on the road and advertise, talk to people, give out your flyers, have conversations about people here, give them information, get a little flyer, hand it out, say to them, you know, if you see people, tell them, this is what I do. Nothing wrong with your hair, you're looking perfect. But if you know anybody, that way you're taking away the onus from the person. They're not freaking out that their hair doesn't look good. Maybe their hair don't look good, but you're telling them that. You're telling them to tell somebody about their hair, and they feel great because they know it themselves, but they don't want you to tell them. They'll call you later to find out. And how great it is if you open a salon and have, you know, 2-3 people coming in and using your chair, and they're paying for the chair, and you bringing in clients. You say to them, here you go, you know, I've got 2 people who do what you do, and they're feeling great because not only are they renting from you, you bring in clients. You become the sales rep for your salon. So all of a sudden, the 60 grand turn into 75 grand, you know, you could double it within a couple of years. But with the understanding that if you want to make 70 grand a year, you can't bring in 60 grand, you can't bring in 60. You got to bring in at least double 60, which means you might only be able to make 35 grand the first year. You have to know this. I mean, you have to be tight, knowing how much shampoo to buy, the sink, the person who's going to maintain it, who's going to clean the salon. And I don't mean when your girl's finishing the sweeper, but somebody needs to come in there once a month and do a thorough clean so it's fresh. And people want to come in. They want to tell people about it. The service is excellent. You get somebody at the receptionist desk. Don't be like those cheap salons where the girls who doing hair screaming out to the front, we'll be with you in a minute. Get somebody to sit at the desk and pay them to treat people right and call them up and find out, like, you had your hair washed, you know, it's due for a treatment, what's going on, and how is things, what's happening? Are you too busy, or it's not fitting your budget this month? Could we offer you a 20% discount to still get it washed? Because we care about your hair more than the dollars. Now, your business do care about the dollars, but the customer need to hear you care about them more than the dollar. So they'll still come and spend, if it was 35, they'll spend 20 getting their hair washed because you so care about them. Now, when they come back and they got $35, they're going to tip you $20. I just go out to rent there, and people tip me off $20 just because of conversations with them. And it's crazy. They might do something for I did some curtains for a man wife. I think he bought me a bottle of wine, $60 or whatever. Just curtains, just ham it. But it was so ham just right in the conversation that he sent him back with $40 in one. Because I didn't even know that people do wine. They bottle wine. You never know who's coming to your plate. That's my thinking. You don't know who's coming to you. So you want to treat everybody really excellent. Because if I'm tight and my hair needs to wash, it needs a color, it needs a braid, it needs a cut, and I know you treat me great, when I have in my pocket, people who don't have a lot of money, so I think people don't even realize, when you're poor, when you're broke and you don't have money, when you do get and people treat you right, you want to reward them. Most rich people don't reward that way, but most poor people reward that way. Middle class reward better than, of course, with a lot of money, because they start getting privilege and entitlement, so they don't. But so you see how you need to know your target audience, you need to know your clientele, you need the kind of people you are, and you need to understand nothing more. How to pay yourself, how to pay your bills, and how to keep growing that business of yours.
Okay, wait, that was it. How to that's the book. How to pay yourself, how to do something, and how to grow your business. Do you understand what I mean? Those
sometimes you just come in my head and I'm just talking. So
yeah, and I was like, oh, that's a book or a course or something that, or a service that you can offer somebody, a consultation service where, you know, you kind of like what you did for the lady that in our Chronicle, Pamela, today, where you took her through the processes for 4 months and you taught her, or however many months it was, a year, and you got her from zero to making money. Now she was less than zero because she was, you know, rent not paid.
It was minus.
Yeah, so
just what was in the home, that was what's in the home. And I often say that if you have nothing in your home and you think you have nothing in your home, go look in somebody else's home. They really have nothing in their home. And then look at somebody else who have really nothing. Everybody has something in their home, something that you can do something with to get you further. Whether it's just collaborating with somebody else, if you're good at taking pictures, find somebody who's doing handcrafting and take out their pictures and then share in the collaboration of the monies, because maybe right now you can't afford to do anything else. And if you really, really love taking pictures, man, and you can't afford to print the pictures to have a show or something, find somebody who can use that skill of yours. There's always. And if you're not sure how to do it, you need some quiet time. Quiet time, no music, no nothing. Being one with yourself. Listening. You hear the birds from far away. It is not easy. I understand. Before you say anything, I get it. You will hear everything that your mother, grandmother, uncle, auntie, friend, cousin, far away people telling you before you can hear the words. I understand. But you need to ask them to leave when they visit you. If you hear your uncle talking about something your auntie said, tell him, I don't want to hear. It sounds crazy? Tell him, I do not want to hear what you want to tell Auntie Barbara. Tell him. He will shut up. It's just your memory. Just reminding you. And you need to shut it down. Because right now, I want to focus on what is my next move. And you telling me about Auntie Barbara is interrupting me. Tell him to go. New things going to come, send them away. It might take you 3-4 hours. Who cares? You got nothing to do. You got everything but time. Spend that time finding and centering you. And if you need to do it all week, give yourself 7 days. If you know you're a big yapper in your head, take 7 days. Every single day, sit down for 2 hours. And as the people come to visit you in your mind, ask them to leave. Focus on you. Send them away. Focus on you. Every single day for 7 days straight. Even if it's day 4 and you figure you know what to do, don't stop. Go for the full 7 days. Getting your mind in tune. If it was money, same thing. If money comes in your hand and it falls out right away, and 7 days, just think about it. All the things you need to do about money, just do it. Just do it daily for 7 days. Put 10 cents in a jar for 7 days. Put 25 cents in a jar for 7 days. Every day. Don't count them up. Just put it in the jar and let it become your habit. Then do it for another 7 days and for another 7 days. Here's a better challenge. Put 5 cents in a jar. For the next 14 days, put 5 cents. Double it every day for the next 14 days. Don't touch the money. Don't spend the money. If 5 cents is too much, put a penny. I don't care where you start, but double it. Then when you get to the 14th day, take the money and go put it in an account. Don't spend the money. I am going to tell you something. Every single thing that you could, shoulda, and maybe do, plus your friend, family, your husband, your brother got a call to ask you to do something with the money you just put in the bank. You just call them up, okay? You didn't call them on the phone, but you call them up. And you have to tell your mind that it's not for sale. It is to be parked. Don't touch it. Go do it again and again and again. Let it become such a frequent habit. Next thing you know, in a couple of months, you got a good set of money in the bank, just sitting there. Now you can do whatever you want with it. But it is a practice. It's not so much the money, but it's you formulating this idea that you can get money, whole money, don't have to spend the money, because that was never there before you start this journey that I just spoke of.
So the challenge is to take 5 cents or if a penny, whichever works better for you, put it in a jar and double it every day.
Every day for 14 days.
14 days.
And write it down. Write it down. Write down the day you started. Write down how much you put in, and then you call it day 1. And then do the same. Put the whatever jar you're using. Get a piece of paper and everything I just said. Write it down and stick it in the jar. So every day when you put in, so say you put in the penny, you're gonna scratch it off day 1 and put a check mark. Day 2, 2 pennies. Day 3, 4 pennies. Day 4, 8 pennies. If it was 5 cents, it would be 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, 320, 640, 1280. You get the drift. 25 something, 51 something. Your heart is going to start charging when you get to the $100 and something if you get 5 cents. And by the time you get to like 4 something or 8 something, like, you can't expect me to put $800 or something cents a day in a jar. That just means $800 and something freak you out. That's all it means. If it freaks you out, start back at 5 cents. Watch, pay attention to what freaks you out. It is your barrier to growing big. That is your barrier to acquiring bigger money. That's why you're where you're at. That's why you're not going any further. Because somewhere in your head of some old money story, you were told, you have ingested, you have decided that if you made more than X amount of dollars, it's wrong, you're taking away from somebody else, you're not worthy of it, money is evil, and any other of the above that you can come up with starting to happen, and you sabotage yourself. That's why you don't make a sale. That's why you don't talk to nobody. That's why you don't sell when you're supposed to sell, because that number is starting to trip you off. I tell people, do you know people make $1 million an hour? People who make $1 million an hour, you make $1,000 an hour. So don't go freaking out if that's what you're making a day.
Whatever freaks you out is your barrier to growing big. That is the tweet for the day. And it's going to go up on Twitter today. And I'm taking the challenge. I have a jar. And then let
me know how it goes.
I am. Today is May 30th.
Yes,
for
today's
14
May 30th.
days. Yeah. And I encourage anybody watching this on the replay or watching live, I challenge you to take the challenge too. Because it's not that it's not the money, it's your mind.
It's your mind. That's what holds us back. That stops us from doing a lot of things. And this is just a money challenge that's helping you push. We could have done it with the mind, and I explained with the mind and what happened in centering yourself and finding yourself. That's, those combinations of things dictate, as I said before, it made us go to the fridge and eat. It make us want a chocolate bar, self-included. It make us, the very thing we're supposed to do, we find a way around not doing it. by doing things that is not good for us.
Oh, excuses
is what's good for us. The very thing we're supposed to do, we find a way around it to do the things we're not supposed to do.
I've been listening to one of my mentors, and they say that is in essence excuses. Excuses are just plans for failure.
Yes.
So when we start a way around it, excuses.
Yes. So if you feel like eating a pack of chips and really true, you just had lunch and you don't need chips, and you don't know what you're supposed to do, because there's times when you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Ask. So what am I supposed to do? Because you will tell you what you're supposed to do. You ain't want to do it, but you will tell you what you're supposed to do. You might say, go to the washroom. You're like, but that don't make any sense. Go to the washroom, run the water, and then you're going to hear what you're supposed to do. Go upstairs and drink a glass of water. You'll know what you're supposed to do. Go walk around your yard. If you have an apartment, run up and down the steps, and you'll know what you're supposed to do. Don't go on the phone. Don't talk with your friend. Don't hear her problems. That's not what you're supposed to do. That's a distraction.
Yeah.
You, only with you, would make you know what you're supposed to do. If you have a coach at the time, you're not sure about certain thing, you clarify it. But don't call her either. Just send her an email or whatever, because I don't want the interaction with another person to tell you what to do. This is you asking you if you truly don't know what to do. Most time you do. But if you truly don't know what to do, find out what you're supposed to do. God's going to tell you what to do. He's going to put it in your heart, and he's going to tell you what to do. And sometimes he wouldn't say you straight to it. You know, he might send you to the sewing machine, or he might send you to go pack up some things. And if you're paying attention while you're packing up the clothes, you're going to know what to do. While you're sewing machine, you're going to know what to do. While you're washing your hair, you might know what to do. I'm a pen and paper gal, so I walk with my pen and paper when, I'm going anywhere, because I know when I get the work, sometimes I can't remember. So my pen and paper is there, and I just jotted down what I was supposed to do. If I am puzzled, the question is, am I puzzled because I don't know what to do? Or am I thinking it's too hard for me to do? Or do I think I don't have the skill to do it? Or am I afraid of the results when I do it? Answer the questions for yourself. Yes. So this month was the Hustle Chronicles. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. We looked at quite a few case stories, 5 to be exact. We looked at the case study of Jenny's problems. We looked at Anna's. We talk a bit about mine. We talk about Clary's, and today we did Pamela's story. So we're the 5th month of the year, and we cover a lot of things. We started this year with budgeting. We went through into sales. I was looking at my book, and I love that everything is in the book. So it just gives me all this stuff to look back on and know what is it we covered. We start talking about, so in January, I wanted to do a quick review if you guys don't mind.
Don't mind.
We started in January this year, and our topic was on budgeting. And we talk about budgeting your money, we talk about budgeting your time. And then we talk about the 10 rules about growing a business. We did it for a couple of weeks. And then we went straight into sales, how to get unstuck with your beliefs. That was in February. And then in March, that was in February, we still did with courage and all that stuff. And in March, we went all the way back to why budgeting really help. And we did stories on that. And sticking with a budget, because it's so important to not only make it, but to stick with it. I talked to a kid the other day, and I was asking him, he understand what budget is. And he says, no, you just write it down like what it is. But he never understands fully what a budget was. And when I break it down for him, he says, that makes so much sense, because he hurts when he uses money. So for him, money is such a pain to use. So he just makes it and set it down. But he's not doing anything with it. So we want to understand where the pain is coming from, and how we can spend and feel like it's okay to spend. So there's so many different things about money story that make people don't know what to do with themselves. And then in the month of April, we talk all about sales, what it really is, the process of sales, creating frame, you know, a buying frame of mind. We talk about growing your business in the sales line, and then this month we covered the Chronicles. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to do for the month of June, because I do enjoy that I put it together. So, you know, it's not just a spot here and you're like, what do I do with it? But really cover. So June, I'm really thinking hard on doing some administration part of the business.
Okay.
It is nobody likes it.
Okay.
But we need it.
I'm not sure if that's what we cover, but it's just one of those things that is so important, you know, that is really tossed to the side. We deal with it. We usually deal with the passion and the sales and all that stuff, but administration, like human resources in a company, is really that belly of the business. Hires, fires, you know, everything goes through them, and you really want to understand that, because when you charge your price, you should have some administration costs attached to your pricing. And that's why it's important. And be back to the labor, because you got to pay somebody to do it if you don't want to do it. Even if you start doing it, eventually when you pass it on, you got to pay for it. So I'm not sure if we can do that or something else. You guys think about it and see if you want to hear about it. It's not
everything you brought to us, it's really good information when it's applied. That's the caveat.
Nobody wants to take medicine, but we have to, okay?
So we
Give
need
it
to
us, Doc. Okay. You know we need it. Okay.
I know you need it.
So I just want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention. If you need to get some consultation or help, you need to reach out to Coach Caren. You can put your information in the chat, or direct message her on Twitter, or direct message her, or send her direct message on Facebook. And just reach out and sign up for a consultation, because the things that she said, don't keep being stuck in your business, and you're just stuck. There's no reason to be stuck anymore. There are people here to help you. She'll tell you what you need to do. Do the challenge, whether it's a penny or 5 cent, 14-day challenge. Put money in, double it, and then she told us what to do. So please go back and listen to the end of this broadcast. It'll tell you exactly how to do it, putting the sheet in the jar. And let's see where we are after 14 days.
Yep, and all those feelings that come up.
And I think that is the main thing, is that we are bringing up feelings so we can deal with feelings, so that we can get past that, because whatever freaks you out is your barrier to growing,
your barrier to success. Yeah,
whatever is freaking you out, that's a barrier to you. So I'm like, oh, it's not the money, it's your mind. I think I like that. Yeah, I think that might be, Island Girl Hustle. It is not the money, it's your mind. Like a tagline. I like that. And you said it. It's not your money, it's your mind. I'm like, oh, dang it. Okay.
You didn't even know you said it, did you?
Girl, sometimes when I go back and listen, I'm like, when did I say that?
I know. Sometimes things just flow out of me, like take the hassle out of your hustle. Just stuff. God just listen to you, girl.
Yeah, when did I talk
Somebody
about that?
else catches it and says,
that's a nice tagline. It really is a nice tagline. It's not the money, it's your mind. And that's the Money Mindset Academy. Do you understand? It's not the money, it's your mind.
It's your mind. It's your mind. Once people get a hold of it, once people understand it, they can't believe how they'll grow. And I think that's the part that it's always amazing, because no matter how you try to explain it, unless people experience it and actually feel it and see it happen, they don't, they're still in disbelief. I think that's the part. It's a lot of disbelief. It's a lot of, I don't know if I can do it if that's so, but this. just wants to put in the time. So thank you again, ladies, for having me here every Wednesday. I so enjoy when I get to come.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Karen. And you always bring something fabulous to the table.
I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, I gotta get my jar, I gotta type up my little paper to put in the jar.
Mark off the check mark is the beauty.
Oh, okay.
Check mark is a beauty. I saw you put it up, Terry, about the happiness plan. I was like, she got it good.
Girl, we got a happiness plan going on over here. And I heard you mention the word budget today, and the first thing that came to my mind was happiness plan. You know, we're not using the B word.
We're not using the B word. We're talking about the happiness plan.
We're talking about the H word.
People who are not sure what that means, so that's why that came in. Yeah. But the happiness plan, I love it. I love it. I gotta get my Instagram back up and going. So.
All right. Well,
thank you so much. And everybody who attended or who's going to listen to the replay, thank you very much for coming and learning and supporting us.
We want to say thank you again for being here. Please like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube page, follow someone else here in the chat that you may not know. Go check them out. And let's grow our community. Let's help one another do and be better in business, taking the hassle out of their hustle.
And don't forget to go to the front of your line.
Yeah. Yay.
I love it.
All righty then.